This starting grid is a lineup of highly exclusive moving technology portfolios. Constructing just one of these machines requires an investment of roughly $20 million. To manage them, teams operate like aerospace laboratories. They spend billions of dollars every single season to solve one incredibly expensive problem: how to save 0.3 of a second on a lap. Because the money required is astronomical and the margins of victory are microscopic, the sport relies on a massive contradiction. The public version of Formula One sells the romance of racing. Underneath that disguise, it operates as an unsentimental corporate syndicate. The grid didn't always look like this. In the 1950s, the sport resembled a wealthy, dangerous European hobby. Drivers sat exposed entirely in beautiful, highly unstable machines. Surviving a race relied far more on raw courage than telemetry. The shift from sheer bravery to calculated precision began when engineers realized that speed could be artificially manipulated, not just generated by a larger engine. Colin Chapman, the founder of Lotus, understood that air itself could be shaped to extract performance. This diagram shows ground effect, an aerodynamic concept that disrupted the track. By shaping the underside of the car to generate low pressure, engineers created a vacuum, effectively sucking the vehicle down toward the asphalt. Cornering speeds exploded. Suddenly, the smartest teams were defeating the bravest drivers. Speed became a math equation. But achieving perfection requires wind tunnels, complex computational modeling, and endless prototype testing. The era of the gentleman racer collapsed because extracting speed from the air required industrial infrastructure that only massive corporate funding could sustain. This diagram breaks down the specific component costs of a modern F1 car, revealing the density of that engineering. A single front wing, optimized to sculpt airflow millimeter by millimeter, costs roughly $150,000. The steering wheel alone runs around $50,000. It functions as an onboard supercomputer, allowing the driver to adjust energy deployment, brake bias, and engine modes while tearing down a street at 300 kilometers per hour. Yet the $20 million car is just the visible tip of the operation. To put those machines on the grid, teams deploy a military-grade logistics network, moving hundreds of tons of equipment and thousands of personnel across 5 continents over a 9-month calendar. Simulation centers and factories remain active back at the headquarters, while temporary garages are built and dismantled on the other side of the planet. It operates as synchronized industrial warfare, where capital spending dictates who holds the best weapon on the track. Sustaining that level of warfare required a financial structure that did not exist in the early decades. Promoters controlled individual races, until Bernie Ecclestone stepped in to centralize the sport's highly fragmented television rights. By standardizing negotiations, Ecclestone turned a loose collection of independent events into a single, highly controlled global product. Broadcasters, host cities, and sponsors began paying massive premiums for access, causing total revenue to explode. Inside the paddock, this exclusive corporate environment earned a nickname, the Piranha Club. The pressure to secure sponsors and deliver results forced smaller, independent teams into impossible cycles. They tried to compete, overspent their budgets, fell behind, and ultimately collapsed or were acquired by billionaires. This chart shows the exact mathematical crisis that followed. You can clearly see 2 diverging trends. Top teams were outspending their rivals indefinitely, creating an immense financial black hole as global audience growth stagnated. The sport had successfully optimized its engineering to build the fastest machines on Earth, but the unregulated pursuit of those microscopic time advantages had nearly destroyed the sport's underlying economic model. To stop the bleeding, leadership instituted a strict regulatory mechanism, a cost cap. By limiting team budgets to roughly $135 million a year, the philosophy of the entire grid shifted. Waste was penalized, and strict operational efficiency replaced brute force spending. This split chart illustrates the immediate financial reaction. On the left, budgets flatten out under the new rules. On the right, team valuations surge, crossing the billion-dollar mark. Investors were finally looking at a disciplined business model instead of an endless financial drain. Liberty Media recognized that while the engineering was impressive, a mainstream global audience connected with human narrative, rivalries, and conflict. By turning drivers into characters and team principals into celebrities, they weaponized the drama of the paddock. Millions of new fans entered the sport, creating a surge in merchandise sales and pushing Formula One to the center of popular culture. The economics finally worked. Formula One evolved into a highly profitable corporate empire the moment it stopped relying solely on the technical pursuit of speed and started selling access to a luxury lifestyle identity. Today, the scale of the operation remains staggering. Factories employ thousands of specialists, and teams deploy the budgets of mid-sized corporations, all dedicated to finding a few microscopic fractions of a second on the track. Going faster doesn't solve global transportation problems. Instead, the structure capitalizes on a specific human addiction, the obsessive pursuit of an unreachable perfection. When the lights go out on Sunday, you see a thrilling race. But behind every millimeter of innovation and every high-speed corner, there is a cold, meticulously engineered economic system built entirely to monetize speed.